And good evening. Welcome to the Chair of show this week. We will be chatting to Yams and Robbie from UKAPU, the UK Airsoft Players Union. Before we get into the newsy, discussion-y topics, if you just do a brief introduction to yourselves, guys, I'll let you fight out who goes first.
Well, I'll go first, seeing I've been recently voted in as chairman this year. It's a great honour to take this role, just to advance the committee a wee bit more, getting our name out there and let people see what we do.
And I'm Yams. I've been involved in Airsoft since 2000, first playing, then starting a site, Spectre War Games, becoming a founder member and later secretary of the UK Airsoft Sites governing body, and later a founder member with Matt Fury King of UKAPU, seeing that there was a need for this organisation. And
now there is a name that I haven't heard in a long time. Matt Fury King. Been on the show a while ago, actually. We'll have to have a chat with him at some point again, see what he's up to. I don't think he really plays anymore, does he?
He is back in the country, and we're trying to coax him out to play.
Which is very hard.
Okay, so we've got a couple of little discussion points / topics. Couple AD and Adam found, so they can run through them quickly. So the first one is Urban Ops. You guys mentioned this earlier.
Just noticed they've been doing quite a lot of work to their site. They had a few guys in doing all like the graffiti and whatnot. I don't know. I don't think we've got any pictures of it though, unless you can go on their page. I noticed there was a couple of people questioning the price, where they were saying it was £30 for 4 hours, but I've looked recently, like today, on their site, and it's £25. So it's £25 for, I think it's a 4-hour session, and the £30 is if you're hiring. So I don't know if they've changed that and dropped it back down because a couple of people have said something about it, or whether that was the price and somebody's misinterpreted the price or something like that.
I was going to say, for a short day as well, you'd expect to pay a little bit less for a site. I think Rift was only about 20 odd, weren't it?
Yeah, it was.
The whole day.
Looking forward to going and giving it a go, because for us, it's about an hour, just over an hour away. So, yeah.
Whereabouts is it?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Where
does it begin with a W?
I might have made that up.
It's definitely not that one, because the one that I had come up was said Toronto in Canada, and I was like, it's definitely not that one.
Which is somewhere.
It's Northampton?
Yeah.
It's sort of about halfway between us, I think, isn't it? It's sort of
between Northampton and Corby.
Yeah.
Well, just over an hour, I think it is to get there, so thought it's worth giving them a bit of love and saying that they're. I can't remember if they've already had their first game or whether it's soon. But when you go on the website, you can look at booking, and there's dates up. I think I clicked on one of them to be able to find the prices. So yeah, definitely worth having a little look and checking them out, I think.
Cool. Next one. Gunman Airsoft Midlands have been doing a lot of work to their site.
A lot of work, yeah. That's where we've been to the GAM weekend.
Going again this year.
Where we're going, yeah. And most of us, or a lot of us, are booked on for this year as well. But yeah, I just thought it's worth giving them a bit of love because they've been really sort of like getting on with getting the builds done. So that's one of the builds they built in the compound. It's got a nice little 2-story, which you can just about, if you go back a picture, back another one.
Yep.
So that little window at the top is pretty much a cheat code if you've got something with a bit of range, because you can go up the little steps and then shoot out over the top of the window. And I know that he said that they're looking at putting like a closable window on it now. Yeah. But yeah, that's really nice to play in and around, because before it just used to be pretty much like 4 walls, and that was about it. So then this is the new build that they've torn down a bit of sort of, it was like a little bit of a maze, bit of an outside bit, but it was starting to get a little bit run down. So over the course of like a couple of weeks, they've torn it down, rebuilt this 40 towers, as it's called.
I did ask if they're going to have the sign so we can do rearranging the letters like at the start of the TV show, and just have like we just leave it saying "flowery twats," which was my favourite one, and just leave it for as long as we can. See how long it takes Silky to realise.
But yeah, it's nice. It's got a couple of towers sort of in either corner. One of the things to note as well, which you can probably just about see from that picture, but as you're going up the stairs, they've covered it in such a way that you don't automatically just get domed in the head as soon as you start going up the stairs. It gives you a chance to actually get into the position and be able to shoot out the windows, which is pretty good. So looking forward to giving that a play. And then he's just working on, this is another section of the site which used to be like you can't really tell from the picture, but it's like a raised bunker. So yeah, just building it up with barrels by the looks and putting a bit of a cover on the site, which hopefully will make it a bit more playable. So yeah, just tons of work going on by Silky and all the Marshall team there.
Yeah, just come back on the sign. He'll do that just for me.
But yeah, it's just worth giving them a little bit of love because they're clearly putting a lot of work into the site.
It reminds me, I've still got a game up there actually.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, and that's in Borsal Common in the Midlands. If anybody's looking at
trying somewhere
booking on, it's good.
Absolutely.
Gunman Midland Airsoft.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It is a good little site actually. They do a great job there. I just need to get out there more often. It's a long day. It's a long day.
Because that's our local, so that's about 25 minutes, half an hour from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're sort of halfway between that and Warzone, aren't you?
Yeah, we're about 5-10 minutes away from Warzone.
Well, we would be if the farm track wasn't involved. Anyway.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
5-10
minutes as the crow flies. Real time, 2 years. Right. The next one we're going to go on to. I've seen a site in question here, and also a group that we were discussing before. So, can you trademark a word? No, you silly arses. This basically, it came out that a site had been told that they weren't allowed to use the word skirmish to describe their game days. And basically they were being threatened with legalities and all sorts. And we brought this up as well because the guys from UKAPU are here to weigh in from a UKAPU stance. Find out where they stand with this. But, I mean, my thing is fuck off, basically. It's a word. Are they going to go...
known words within the community.
The thing is, for me, the bit that got me was the fact that they've only targeted, from what we understand, one site, because you'd expect to be reading a lot more about it if they'd gone after others. And it just so happens that this site is actually doing a much better job of what they're doing than anyone else in the area at the moment.
Yeah,
I think most sites use the word skirmish anyway, don't they?
Yeah, they all refer to it. Most refer to it as a skirmish.
Well, you get a skirmish day, or mill sim, or it's just
it's always been skirmish, mill sim, or speed soft.
It's a speed QB as well. Don't forget there's a difference. LAQB, I don't know. I'm learning still.
You're going to be our official dictionary of terms.
It's actually quite interesting because it's been about 20 years since this last raised its head.
Right.
It happened, same, it was one of the skirmish sites, like skirmish brand sites, did exactly the same thing. Contacted a bunch of other sites and said, stop using the word or we'll take you to court. At the time, the site's body, as it was, who also got the message, just ignored them. And pretty much I would suggest, as myself, that's what you do, because if you're using it in the descriptive of what you do, that's fine. If you use it as part of the name, well, that's a different matter. But that's not the case here.
Yeah, they're just using it to describe the game day.
Yeah.
As, we did actually put a story up the other day for some other suggestions for game days.
I was going to say, we can't really, like, it is a skirmish. Just that's it. It's simple.
Always has been, as long as I've been playing Airsoft, I've known it as a skirmish day.
And am I not right in saying that's not part of how we get our defence? It's we have to have so many skirmishes. If I might be wrong, but I thought that was
Yeah, that's something to look into on the wording for sure. I'm just trying to see if I can call the story up so we can, because I forgot to put up the post about what suggestions we had actually, what responses we got. So I'm trying to see if I can find some.
It does raise an interesting point, because recently, I don't know if you've seen that Glock have won their trademark battle in the US against a company called Splat Airsoft.
Right.
It's been dragging on, I think, about 6 years over there. And yeah, Glock, it's trademark infringements. They've won, I think, at least $2.5 million from the company.
Wow.
And there's one shop in the UK that I know of that's also been threatened by them with a pretty ridiculous demand, actually, which is to recall all licensed Glocks, or all. They've even gone after things that they think are a similar shape, but they've got to recall them all and prove that they've destroyed them.
Yeah.
So they're trying to suggest that they call up a customer, go, please send
we have your gun back.
Please send it back because we want to destroy it.
Some of the suggestions we had, Adam put pew pew days. Ailey put skirmish-ish.
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 Just a little bit of skirmish.
Call sign Breacher put plastic pizza shoots. Keith Kilo put, I'd call the site, shut the fuck up and stop chatting shit. Was that a hit warfare? Pellet pinging fun times. Got all sorts of ball sim. That's one from Hulk. Ball sim. And then so we had a few good ones on there. And then there was a few actual serious events who were like, what the fuck is actually going on? So now everyone knows the full story. Apologies for the meowing in the background. We have a poorly cat at the moment who is in a straitjacket and trying to escape. But
It's the
she
two
can
that
look
are
after
having
her
the fight
children.
in the bookshelf that I'm most interested in.
Oh yeah! Oh shit!
Yeah, look at them. They're exploring.
So if she carries on, I'll go and let her out. Some put in a game where the equipment is a clone of a clone of a clone. That seems a bit of a piss take. And then skirmish / game day equals same shit. So yeah, it's a interesting one, and it'll be interesting to follow and just basically see what happens when they tell them to fuck off.
The meow stud.
Simon, I'm sorry. If she carries on, I'll let her out, and we'll figure out a solution.
Nemtac on YouTube.
Hi.
Hey, Nemtac. So yeah, really, that's what's been going on. I did have some fun with the skirmish thing, and I just decided to put every post that I responded to on the site in question had the word skirmish in it, just because I'm a massive fucking wind up. And I did actually get a message off the site, and they're going, "Are you taking the piss?" I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." That's
I didn't realise you had a message off them.
Yeah. Cool. So, as you can see, there's chaos going on at the moment behind me. let's get on to UKAPU and what you guys are about while I mute my microphone. So, if you guys want to start talking about yourselves.
Well, a lot of people don't know what we actually are. We're just a bunch of like-minded guys that just wanted to make a difference. So, as Jams will know a lot of the history, he was one of the founding members. It's just us trying to give a voice for the players. Basically, we're a non-profit organisation, all volunteers, all wanting the same issues, just to look after players' rights and just making it a good, safe sport for them. That's all we want to do. Yeah. So yes, we're a good bunch of guys. We're just currently sort of reaching out to get more people involved and joining the committee, and yeah, just making a voice for ourselves now.
This is one thing that I remember when I first joined years ago now. I've lost track of how long ago it was. I think it was actually as a result of Airsoft Nation when Graham was running that show, and he basically said to me, "Look at UKAPU and look at what these guys are doing." And people don't realise what you guys do in the background to help protect Airsoft almost.
Yeah.
And like it was eye-opening because I think we actually first spoke at the open day at was it Bravo 1 they called it?
Bravo
down
1,
in Birmingham.
Oh, don't
Oh,
get
sorry,
Bravo 1.
I've got Adam triggered now. It's all right. It's probably full of bin bags now.
Oh, Bravo 1 used to be there.
It's full of bin bags and rats now. From what you hear about Birmingham at the moment. Watch it. I'll get a Brummy comment somewhere.
They're not important. Don't worry about them.
But yeah, no, that was sort of like my first sort of insight because you guys run a game day, sort of half day with an AGM afterwards.
Yeah.
On a yearly basis, basically to get members involved as well. So it's not just the committee; the members. You just have to be a member to turn up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a good laugh, and it means then the players that's members can also have their voice, put their opinions across, because it's we always listen. That's what we're there for.
Yeah.
Any way we can help them out.
I'm just going to go on with the proviso here before someone asks something intimate. We have specifically discussed this, but you aren't allowed to go into specifics of cases that you've dealt with over the years for obvious reasons.
Yes.
I suppose, are you able to give like a general idea of what the fuck was that?
I think Yams will be able to give the sort of brief history at the beginning of it.
I was going to say, because I've genuinely never heard of you guys. It sounds really horrible, but I haven't. When they said you were coming on, I had a bit of a nosy, but it'd be interesting to know like how you go about helping people, really.
Well, it's after the VCRA kicked in 2006. There were two organisations that represented Airsoft. You had the sites body and the Retailers Association, obviously UKARA. There wasn't anything that represented the players. And it's one of the reasons why it's UKAPU with a U and not association. That had been tried and failed about 5 or 6 times. Matt at the time just didn't want to be associated with people thinking that it was another failed body. And we knew that at some point authorities would come knocking at the door in the future, which they did. It took almost 10 years, but they did. But the way we help in most scenarios is there's normally a constant drip of import cases. People have been stopped or trying to import their kit, and we try and smooth it out behind the scenes. Mostly it's an officer that's got the wrong end of the stick and wants to make a bit of a name for himself, digs his heels in when they realise they're wrong, and it just needs an official body as such to try and push the wheels of bureaucracy. There've been quite a few. I don't know if you've all heard of Prevent, which is the causing radicalisation in young kids is often what it's for. There've been several cases that we've attended where people have been taken aside and questioned, and action has been taken purely because they've had an interest in airsoft, which has been quite an overreaction on the authorities' part. And just generic whatever members come to us with behind the scenes. Often it's not members, and they suddenly realise that there is a benefit of of having
Mm.
knowledgeable people on their side in no matter what they have to fight.
It's good just to have a voice for the players. It means then they've got something to fall back on if they're stuck, because we can give them a lot of information and point them in right directions as well. So that's a good aim for us. So yeah.
The thing is as well, it's people being stupid that are the reason that you guys get called in the first place. Like, I can think of a case where a guy was on his way to a game at the mall in Reading in years gone by, and at Reading Station turned around to one of the BTP officers and went, "Oh, look, a Glock, I've got one of them." And instantly stopped, searched, everything. Yeah. When he told us about it, we were like, "You absolute cretin." But it's shit like that as well that really is why you guys have to be there, because
we see ourselves as a safety net that really has the players' interests at heart. Obviously, the players doing well benefits sites and retailers, but they've obviously got their own interests slightly ahead. So it's really to be able to concentrate on what the players would want, or what we would hope the players would want in any of those scenarios.
Making sure they stay on the right side of the law when transporting stuff from site to site or site to the house. Or yeah,
this is it. It's
a lot of it's common sense as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but to be fair, thinking of it, like I've marshalled for 5 years or something. It's not something people actually explain to you. So we have loads and loads of numerous new players that used to come in, and we go through all like how to handle the weapons, we go through how to like play the gameplay and stuff like that. But you'd never actually get them to like teach you what's the right way to transport and what to do outside of like the airsoft site. There's not actually much. Really? You been thinking about it? No. The only reason I know is because my mate goes, "Yeah, there's a gun bag. Don't get it out in public." Common sense, yeah.
I remember one thing with it was Badge Attack, Ratty, when is it Police Crime Act now? Is it? I can't remember what they called it. The latest one, yeah. When that first came in, he basically it was around the time that they had the old languages college for that brief period that they had that before they got torn away from them. And he literally had an A4 paper with advice that he'd thought of. So it was things like, just lock your guns away when you're travelling, get a padlock. And like to this day, people go, "Why do you lock them away?" Well, if someone wanted to get into the car, I've got the whole aggro of taking that case away and then trying to get into it because they ain't fucking getting them off of me at the side of the road. Things like that, just little things like that because no one really knew what was going on at the time. I don't know what it was like for you guys trying to get your heads around that when it first came in.
It was more realising the ramifications of what was going to happen with actually trying to enshrine a limit for lethality. I mean, it's something that I think sites and everything, they've always known that it is going to be a problem. But for years and years and years, we just lived in a happy little grey area that no one really cared about. And then the PCB, when it was announced as a bill in 2016, definitely upset the apple cart and made everyone realise that, finally they're going to try and close the loophole. Yeah.
And there was I remember there was a whole thing in Europe as well with the European Union with
Directive. David looked it up the other day. It has a catchy name that I think is something like Directive 91 that was reclassifying. I can't remember what they called airsoft kit, but they were being reclassified, I think, as a Category C firearm, which sounds so innocuous, but it would mean that everything would have needed a serial number. Every single part would have needed a serial number on a database. Wow. It would have made airsoft not impossible, but entirely impractical.
Yeah.
And that was, just after the PCA.
Yeah, because I remember there was a frantic flight to Brussels at the time, wasn't there, to represent from some members of UKAPU. I think Matt was one of them.
Oh, he was the one who went over several times to put the case forwards.
I think the proper term that we use for it is 750, proposal for a directive of the European Parliament and the Council. Yeah. Night
We've
and
already
one.
got a member tonight, by the way. Night Ferry has just signed up. Tenner well spent, he says.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
A comment from South Arts on Instagram as well, saying that their biggest annoyance is players told that they can't sue a site because they've signed a disclaimer, but sites can still be guilty of neglect. Would you help players in that situation?
Yeah, we'd certainly point them to the right places to do it.
Yeah.
You can't. The waiver covers the site for their own shortcomings. Not much more than that. You can't. If a site is actually neglectful, then yeah, they.
First and only. Sorry. Terrible cough.
Oh, a weird cough, Andy.
Like I said, it's not something that we'd actively get involved in fighting as such, but we would be able to point players into the right
Yeah, you
direction.
support them,
to
sort of
help
thing, and
themselves,
guide
yeah.
them.
Basically
where
put
to
them in the
go.
right way.
Now, to be fair, you probably wouldn't know what to do, really. That's not really something you should come across.
And the thing is, as well, people don't realise just how much goes on in the background, because obviously you guys don't blow your own trumpet because you can't in a lot of cases. Well, in pretty much all cases you can't really, because there's legalities around talking about what's going on. So at the end of the day, people don't realise that it isn't a lot of money, and it goes towards supporting a great organisation.
It's sort of a catch-22, and in some ways, I hope that we never really have to do that much, because it means there's no serious threat that's doing anything. As I said, in most players' lives in the hobby, there's been two, which is 2006 and 2017, and both of which would have changed the hobby quite a lot. And yeah, fingers crossed there isn't another one.
Yeah,
it's one thing that I'm sort of wanting to sort of push people's notification about. Is it's if we've got a larger following, people know about us, we've got a bigger voice for the players to try and support anything that was to happen with Airsoft.
Yeah. Nemtag saying, what's the best way to contact or find out about UKAPU? Well, find out about here, ask your questions. The guys are here to answer them.
Questions, pop them in the comments.
We'll also find the link, and we need Chesney back as our executive research desk.
We do.
Yeah, we've got you can add messages on Insta, Facebook, or drop us an email, and we'll respond to you as soon as we can.
Cool, easy done. So yeah, I was saying we were trying to figure out how long I'd been a member the other night, and we couldn't find out.
Yeah, I'm actually get our registrar on looking at that for us. Hopefully, it is doing that. He's just been very busy at the moment with his work life.
So I've just popped a link on the comments for everyone who's watching on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. I'll just send it over on the Instagram as well, so people can get hold of that. But yeah, great. It was Graham speaking to a couple of you guys and chatting to Matt as well, because I first met Matt at IWA in 2018, and I was chatting to him about what you guys did, and it was sort of like it was a no-brainer to just go and sign up at the end of the day, because it's that extra little bit of protection for us and for our hobby, and it's nice to have someone looking out.
It's nice to know that if anything did happen, you can go to these guys and come back here. So yeah.
And I said, for us, more important than people putting the donation is just to join for free, absolutely for free, because there's strength in numbers. When you go to somebody and say there's 10 people that have this point of view, it doesn't really sound as impressive as if you go and say there's 3,000 or 10,000.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, how many signatures does it need these days to get a petition online raised up at Parliament?
10,000,
I think. Yeah.
10,000, yeah. So
just look over the last few years, we've sort of since 2020 to now, we've doubled the numbers. We're sitting at like 5,500.
That's good. That's good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
The more we can spread the word, then the better, basically. So.
Yeah.
And everyone who's watching as well, please spread the word as well. Sign up to these guys, get the word out there.
Anybody that's watching, if they wanted to be part of the committee, certainly messages, and we can certainly have a chat with you to see if
That's one thing as well. Let's talk about the committee side of thing and how it breaks down, because you have sort of regions as such, and then reps there, and then you've got like the chair and treasurer and secretary and all that. So let's just go into the full breakdown of it, really, just so people understand how it works.
Do you want to go, Robbie, or should I?
Ernie's asking then how many in Scotland.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, there's just myself in Scotland, but just not what's around the corner for that, because we've got a few people interested coming on as reps and deputy reps. But yeah, it's always good having them on board.
South Hearts Airsoft have just put, we have loads of newbies at ours. Do you have a logo? We can fly a flag and get coverage for you. So if you guys tie up with South Hearts, we'll arrange that afterwards. Yeah. And then.
So, just so basically the committee, just now we've got myself, the chairman, then we go on to Andy, who is our vice chair. Then from there we go on to the lovely Yams as our treasurer. Then from there we go on to our registrar, which is Dave Weston. So he's still with us. Then we go into our regional reps. We've got, I'm trying to think now. You've caught me off guard. You've got, let me think, myself, Scotland. Then you've got Ian, who does the Midlands area. I think. Who else have we got? Goodness. You've totally caught me off guard with this one.
Yeah, we've split the country up into regions to try and have some representative. And as is always the case with volunteer bodies, it can be difficult to get people in and who have time to do this type of stuff. So anybody who would like to help will find something that people can do. Because that's it. Often it's just spreading the word to let people know we're out there. We can help with all sorts of things, and that's it. Just put your name down for free if it's something you think you want to get behind, because those numbers do make a difference.
The more people we have on the voice, then the bigger the voice is at the end of the day.
Well, it's specifically a question that was asked by the Home Office when we met them in 2016, which is, how many people do you actually represent? And obviously UKARA, they've got a rough estimate of how many people are signed up to their database. We've got ours. So, when it's certainly with UKARA, it's in the tens of thousands of people signed up. It's a number that they can't just brush off that easily. So the more the merrier.
Because we've also got some specialist roles, which is Lee Munderhill, who is our student representative. So he's been making waves in that, which has been really good. He's had quite a few people come on board. Then we've also got Andy's doing the southwest of the UK. He's also the vice chair. Then you have got Ian Lawrence and Brendan Stewart, who does the sort of Midlands area. As if you go onto our website, you'll also see that we've got quite a few positions vacant at the moment. So if you're interested.
I was going to say, because I've not heard of it. I'm Norfolk way, so I'm east of England, and I've met in the thousands of players, that sort of thing. I've never actually heard of it. And to be fair, I wish I knew about it sooner, because I've met a lot of people that would need help, and you only know so much. And now I know about you guys.
Kerry for East of England rep. There we go. We're starting here.
Hey, if you need it, I'm
president.
more than happy to help anyone I can. You know what I'm like in airsoft. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that needs to be more. We need to tell more people about. We definitely do, and I know some local sites as well that I go to quite regular, and I might even see if they'll put something up.
Yeah, to answer, if I can, a couple of the questions in the chat there. We got Simon asking about the misunderstood defence. I think in some quarters it's so entrenched as to people think it's a licence. You're not going to shake that. And I think sometimes it's sort of smile, carry on, and just hope that the sites, and obviously UKARA, are carrying on in the right way. And then you've got the question above about trying to reclassify airsoft guns. I don't think that's a stance that the Home Office would ever entertain. Their mantra the last time round was they wanted to simplify firearms laws, and anything to try and have almost another classification of a firearm or imitation firearm in there is counter to what they want. So it might be a nice sort of pipe dream, but I don't think that it's a realistic one.
Well, this sort of leads on to a link that Ailey just sent me actually from the BBC the other day. So you guys are probably all over this already. But there was this story came out the other day. Hang on, let me turn the logo off so you can actually read the headline properly. So, man arrested after BB gun found in bush. This was in Nottinghamshire. And basically, there were called to reports of a man carrying a gun, and then he'd obviously chucked it in the bush because he realised the old bill were turning up and nicked him. How much of this do you guys sort of tend to see without going into specifics? Is this a common thing you guys have to come across, or?
Yeah, just like this one, we discussed it, saw it, and in my opinion, it's a very well written article. It's factual. It doesn't.
The good thing is it doesn't mention anything about airsoft within that, so it doesn't have a tie-in link, which is good.
Yeah, it's not scaremongering.
Yeah,
it doesn't mention airsoft, and it's
just someone being silly with a BB gun, basically, isn't it?
Yes, which is probably a 177 steel pellet rifle.
Yeah,
which is an 18 age limit anyway, which anybody can buy over 18.
Well, they still do that though. You can still get in my town, you can still go down like the local seafront and get little Springer BB guns and stuff, and kids are walking around streets with them.
The Skeggy specials.
That's basically the arm of specials. You always get them. No matter, that's how I started. I didn't even realise I was into airsoft. At 6 years old, running around BB guns. But yeah, it started at a young age. I just never actually found airsoft until my 30s.
I think I've only been playing for about...
Exactly, and I'm never leaving it.
About 9 years.
If you, when you're 80 with a Zimmer frame, like...
I am. I will not ever stop. I don't care.
I was going to say, we'll have a chat with my missus. We'll get some mobility scooters that have been modified. Have a chat between them and broken parts. We'll get something sorted.
We've got that thingy, guys. Make the
you got broken parts.
Ones. That's it. Yeah. Just give them a shout out. Yeah, 100%. I'll be in a chair at one point. My back will give way, but I ain't ever given up. There's always a way. Always.
A question from Paul Doyle for Robbie here. Just a quick question for Robbie. You've been the representative for Scotland in UKAPU for quite a while. Which sites have you visited over the years?
Well, I've been to a couple. I've been to Nomad, the depot, Area 66, and also Section 8. I'm currently a marshal at Section 8, so I am. So a lot of my time's there, but I am making a push to move to other sites just to get the voice out there a bit more.
Cool. Pest in the comments on Instagram, you're saying it's easy to buy an air gun than an airsoft gun. Going back to that point you were making. The thing is, going back to that article, just briefly, I remember years ago in the town I grew up in, there's someone dicking around with an airsoft rifle, and it was all over the paper, the Hertford sniper. And it's like, it's a guy with a BB gun dicking around, taking pot shots out a window, being a twat.
Yeah.
He's not a fucking sniper. Don't use words like that, because that just leads to the scaremongering that the public have, and it gives us all a bad name at the end of the day as well.
I see crossbows more than airsoft guns.
Really?
Been watching too many zombie movies, mate. That's what it is. So, with regards to joining the committee, if people get in touch with you, are there some rep positions that still need filling? Or it was a conversation I remember we had actually, Robbie, at the meeting back in 2018. Was about hearing how active you and some of the other guys were, and then I didn't even know that we had a rep in the southeast at the time. I think we were under.
There is a few areas that we need to fill in as like secretary, press, socials, then some of the regional reps. But the good thing is we're also taking on deputy reps as well, that helps the main rep within that area. So it gets a bigger spread, because we need to get the message out there about us. And that's one thing. Scotland's one of the biggest sort of areas, so it's hard to sort of cover the whole area. So it's good that we've had some interest recently from some new players that's got a good insight to other sites as well, just to get the word out there.
On that topic, what sort of experience would players need to have to be able to join, like, the board or whatever you guys call
Become
it?
a rep and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
None. Absolutely none. A
Okay.
willingness to go out and speak to people.
Oh, you said none. I thought you said done. I thought you'd literally just signed Ailey up as a rep. You're now a rep. Well done, Ailey.
Stay speaking to people. As long as it's airsoft, I'm fine speaking to people. Any other time, no.
I mean, I think it's like any organisation. No one's expected to know everything. And it's having a willingness to look into the history of what's happened, understand some of the problems that might currently exist with airsoft, or might exist, or have in the past existed, and just be enthusiastic about people enjoying themselves, because that's what we want. Is we want the hobby to continue, people to enjoy themselves, and not get bogged down or stopped by outside interference. And that's what it is. It's just the enthusiasm. I mean, Robbie's amazingly enthusiastic about just getting stuck in and spreading the word. And it is something that we've struggled with over the years. Often because we tried to pride ourselves by being independent of shop sites to try and not have any vested interests. A lot of the people who are motivated enough in airsoft are already in some sort of commercial situation, be it running a site, running a shop, so it can be hard to find those people who haven't got those ties to do something, to get involved, which is why several of the positions that we've had and currently have are people who might be running a site. Ian, who runs Lincolnshire Airsoft Club, is a co-opted, well, he's a non-voting member, so we understand that he's got a commercial tie, but still is wanting to help, and it's silly to turn down someone who is motivated enough to want to help.
It's just showing the passion with airsoft, because it's showing, trying to get rid of the misconceptions of it's just a bunch of guys in a forest. It can be anybody, because airsoft,
it's having fun, isn't it?
Airsoft, there's no
It's a
boundaries.
game.
Yeah.
To answer Nemesis Tactical there.
I'm just going to call that out there. So for those listening, do you help small companies at all? Lots of them have issues with things like important stuff, even internals via UPS, also fuck ups. I mean, fuck UPS, not fuck ups, sorry.
That's what I read it as that as well.
Yeah, that's how I read it. So
it's one of those things. If it's something really, really simple, we might be able to point. But ultimately, we're a players' organisation, and it's a great shame to me that UKARA is no longer truly acting as a retailers association. They've got their database and the maintenance of that, which is critical, but not so much an association to help, as you said, small companies. But if anything, they would be the organisation to get in touch with.
I could say you can come on again, because that was literally my follow-on question. Was would this not be UKARA's job to protect the interests of the retailers? But it just seems to be a bit of a vanity project for the individual in question now, rather than.
It started off. I was reading through some of my old minutes from when UKARA was formed in 2004, and it was started in direct response to the VCRA, because obviously that was affecting the retailers and being able to sell stuff, and it carried on in a quite a good way for many years. But as I said, it has now just been much more maintenance and upkeep of that database, without more of the duties of an association.
Nemtac summing it up there, UKARA is as useful as a chocolate fire guard for small companies. I think it's like that for everyone. It got to the point where you even had the offshoots. Who remembers UKASA?
And just Bumblebows has raised a good point as well. In Scotland, you do need a licence for your air guns.
That's something that I didn't even know. So
Do you really?
Yes,
Wow.
very strict up here.
Yeah, see here, literally all you've got to have, as long as you've got your UCAR. Well, to buy from a shop, you've got to have a UCAR. It's all on like the system. The shops can access it and things like that. But
Well,
that's it. You can buy a second-hand one without
Again,
even
you don't
anything.
need to
I
have
think
be
the
signed up on the UKARA
No,
database.
the shops prefer it though, don't they?
Oh, they absolutely prefer it.
Yeah,
yeah,
just to sort of cover them a little bit.
especially
just
with
say,
an
like, this
online
person is playing
purchase.
airsoft. Yeah, I do know some shops that I ain't going to mention their name, but that have sold them to people that haven't got UKARA. But again, like you said, they haven't legally got to have a UKARA.
As I said, the question we often get asked, and especially on sites when I go, is for the players, will we get in trouble? And it's for buying one in the UK, the player, or rather the buyer, will never get in trouble.
No.
I think UKARA is the most helpful when you're like when I've been importing from the States. That's when I found it the most helpful. A couple of imports I've done over the years. One was interesting when I had to go to Stansted Airport mid-COVID to pick up a rifle that KWA sent over to me, and they didn't tell the security guard what was going through the scanner before he scanned it. That was quite an interesting look on someone's face when you just see gun shape appear on the.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I mean, you hear some horror stories about people trying to import to the UK. I've just said mark up that it's UKARA number, etc. on the shipping documents, and I've never had any issue. Never had any issue getting anything in.
Just to Ernie's comments, I do realise I did shut down 7 years. That's basically when I first took on the role. And I have been asked to go to Biohazard to one of the private games. I can't remember when roughly it was, Area 66. I did go approach the guys and leave some leaflets there. And they says they didn't know about us.
So, yeah, this is the thing.
Going back to Andy's point about importing, it was one of the more recent cases, which it wasn't so much the entitlement to import with UKARA or any sort of defence. It was the power, and it was one of the items was tested and was overpower. I'll be honest. I think the person in question was skirting close to the limit by trying to get something at 1.2 joules automatic. But yeah, so there was a problem. It was seized and destroyed with. I'm trying to remember the final resolution. It was a compromise outcome in the end, but I think something was got back at the end of the day. But yeah, so it as you said, making sure all your details in your defence are on the parcel are key, and making sure it's within current power levels.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing as well. If you're important, just have a chat, because I know that KWA. The first thing I did was I took it down to a tech, and when he ran it through the chrono, it was just as well it hadn't been seized and tested, because it was something like 450 FPS. So it's like, yeah, that's American levels. That is, and this is a big risk when you're importing from the States.
One thing that I will absolutely recommend anybody importing as well is ask the retailer if there is any mention of the power levels on the box, because it doesn't matter if your riff's been downgraded, they will believe what's written on the box.
Yeah.
So that's all good advice that we need to know.
Again, it's things that you don't always think. Obviously, I wouldn't have thought about that at all. I'll be like, oh, ordering that, I'd buy it, and then like, oh, I got it now.
That's the thing, and especially with money is tight for people these days anyway. So you don't hear of people purchasing as much as they used to. It's definitely, I found myself scrolling through the used groups more than anything new these days. Especially if there is that risk of importing, it's not cheap. One of the guys that I know who imported something, I mean, that was a 1,200 quid riff, HPA, all upgraded, everything. If they'd have decided, because this was another thing as well, I remember the PCB, no one knew just how it was all going to be tested if they did decide to test something. And
Still
Yeah, no, well, that's what I was going to say. Are we still at that point where we don't have a clue what's going on? Because there was obviously the risk that they were just going to get it, hook a HPA line up to it, max it out, and go, well, that's over.
Mm.
In several years of trying to find clarification, there's been none forthcoming.
Everyone probably does it slightly differently as well. They'll all have their own little different rules with different constabularies.
There shouldn't be, because that's it. It's a mess, and we don't know if we're ever going to get an answer.
Yeah, that's ongoing. That's one thing that we should all lobby the government for next. Or police services. How do you test these? So,
Oops FPS. Sorry, I like that. I like how he's put that. It chronoed Oops FPS. I've known a few people that they've come to, like, new players have come to play at the site. They're like, oh, they're all excited. They've bought their first riff and everything. Gone through chrono. It's like, no, mate, sorry, can't use it. They're like all confused
Chronos is
about
so
it.
different at different sites as well. Like, there's no standard for it. I'm thinking that's what.
First and only.
Yeah, but some do.
like,
Yeah,
with
you have a
pictures,
slight
like-
different limit on it because I noticed when we were at Blackstone, it was a little bit under than what it was at BSA, but it was just like 1 or 2 FPS. It's hardly anything, so it's not enough to really notice. But
Yeah,
they always have.
been fine.
Literally in a weekend, we played
yeah.
at one site on the one day and another site on another. And the one day it was absolutely fine, and the following day it was like it wasn't too hot, but it was a big difference between the two FPSs.
Yeah.
I think it's
well, we're talking of. Sorry.
It's fair to say that the limit that a site has should be seen as the limit, not a target. And I think that's what too many people they want to squeeze that bit extra rather than just have something that's
349 FPS.
Oh, a lot do that. A lot. They'll stand there at chrono for so long, just tweaking it, and it's just like, why? It's like it shoots far enough, does what it needs to do. They're going to feel it. That's it. Don't worry
And this is the
about
thing
it.
as well, because it just takes up valuable time throughout the day because you've got, say, 100 players to chrono at a site.
Oh, it was one of my pet peeves when someone does that. Without being horrible, I would send them to the back of the line. I'd just carry on chrono and everyone else and say, look, when you've done fiddling about your gun, come back and then we'll sort it out. But I'm not going to stand there and wait, make everybody else wait because they want to do that. It's like, well, have it ready beforehand.
It's unfair on everybody else, isn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of chrono, I did pre-warn Robbie this was going to get brought up. Let's cast our minds back almost a year to a certain event that decided that they would release a rule where you could pre-chrono your guns and then turn up at the event for up to a month before the event?
Yeah, or like 3 weeks.
And you could then turn up and skip the chrono line. Firstly, what's your guys' opinions on that? And secondly, do we know what the actual thing was? Because I didn't actually hear anything from after the weekend about it.
Well, I never saw anybody checking chrono in the first place, so who says you have to chrono anywhere?
Do you want to take it, Robbie, or shall I?
Well, it's a tricky one because from my personal opinion, I think with being a marshal, it's always something that's based on the day, but but that's my personal opinion.
If you do it before, I guarantee you something could change. It could be they might upgrade it. The different batteries can change it sometimes. So if you run a 7.4 to 11.1, I forgot what I was running, and then it's made it hot.
Someone's going to do what certain YouTube snipers are known for and switch out
There's
their
going to be
string.
something. If the end of the day, if you've got thousands of people to chrono on one day, allocate time for it. Get more people in. There shouldn't be none of that.
Well,
sorry, that's one of my pet peeves. Just start me off.
Ultimately, the idea of doing pre-chronos, and lots of activities do have similar type of things, scrutineering on cars, but then there's a mechanism by which you can't access to change anything. When you've got that many people to chrono, coming up with different ideas to try and speed up the process is a good one. When you're just relying on good human nature, that's where the system can fall apart. So there are many ways in which there can be bottlenecks doing chronoing when you've got that many people. Numbers of chronos, numbers of staff that are available to use them. the amount of space that you might have to actually do your chronoing. You know, you might have a limited area that you can fit the people into. And then you've got players, HPA players. I always notice the problem with this. We just said that people see it as the target. And what was quite nice, actually, is the NAF last year that they clearly made the decision to have a separate queue for HPA players, knowing that they will take a lot longer to chrono.
They do, yeah.
Penalise them. That sounds harsh, but why should they slow everyone else down?
Well, no, it's not really penalised. It's just kind of like, well, you're going to take a bit longer. You go over to that way so then we can focus on everyone else.
A greater problem are people who bring far more guns than they need to chrono.
Andy.
And
right, no, fuck off. Right, I'm going to address this right now. I always have them in the car, but I only chrono the ones I'm going to use. And then if something goes wrong, then I chrono
I have
it.
to make about 3 trips to the car for one person every game day.
So a good idea there would be an event just issues a ticket that allows you to chrono 2 guns, 3 guns. Pick a number that is reasonable, and that allows you to chrono that many. If you want to chrono more, go to the back of the queue.
Yeah.
But then don't be annoyed when someone with a ticket then queue jumps, because they're the one who hasn't been through and needs to. Whereas the person who's already used their ticket has just got extras.
Yeah, see, there are ways around it, isn't there? It's just like you said, it's working out what system works, really.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy, like, if, say, you're at a weekend event, which we've been to before, etc., you chrono on, say, the Friday, Saturday, whatever, and then your guns get locked away in their safe zone, nobody touches them, etc. I'm perfectly happy with that. What I'm not happy with
that worked really
is
well.
saying chrono on, say, the Saturday morning or whatever. Then, yeah, you can keep holding your gun as long as you want, and then, say, the Sunday, Saturday night, you've been sat there fiddling with your gun and doing whatever to it.
You've got to re-chrono the next day.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I was going to say, like, you have to be forced to re-chrono the next day. But I wouldn't be happy if they just carried on like nothing had happened, because they don't know what you've done with your gun between then and next shoot. So, yeah.
I mean, there's ways around it as well. You know, if you're going to do a pre-chrono system, at least have it so, say, on the morning, you got to get up early. If you get tanked up and miss it, that's your own fault. You're not playing till your gun's been chronoed. You miss out. But I have a way that where on the morning of the game starting, you've got to run through a chrono again just to make sure you haven't changed anything. It's not going to take as long because they'll be expecting what you got. But, you know, have ways and means around it. Don't just say, oh, yeah, if you do it, then you don't have to bother again. And also, one thing I'd suggest for the event in question is if your staff are meant to be chronoing, have them chronoing. Don't send them off getting beers for everyone to get tanked up while they're meant to be chronoing, because things are going to get missed. You know, I walked onto the chrono point last time I went to this event and there was about 6 empty cider bottles sat on there. We're not allowed to drink if we're going to be shooting, so why are they allowed to sort of be responsible for that sort of thing? If they're, it's their responsibility, it's their head and necks on the line at the end of the day.
I mean, I think as well, you just need on large events like that, people check in as you go into the game area.
Random checks as well always work.
Randomly.
Yeah, around the game field. Like, I think one of the things I used to do when I marshalled is summertime. I know it's irrelevant to like the big festivals, but like summer, obviously with gas GBBs and stuff. That morning it could be fine. Later on in the day, it could go a little bit toasty. So go around random checks. But obviously, you do it with everybody. Even HPA, as much as sometimes they don't, and I know HPA gets slated. It's not the HPA, it's the players, but everyone gets treated the same.
Speaking of HPA, what's your views on rates of fire for HPA users?
I'm not sure on this one because it's it's something I use.
Same as my view on
player.
rates of fire on any other ref. You don't need high rate of fire.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what the power source is. The only bonus of having a high rate of fire mostly is having a high trigger response for single shot.
Yeah, so it's not just HPA, it is the...
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, exactly. This is, even I've had the disagreement with people before, they're saying, oh, there's HPA players, and it's like, no, it isn't HPA. It is literally the player and what build they've got. The only thing I'm not keen on, because I don't know if normal AEGs can have it, is the binary.
Yeah, my
They
rocket.
have-
Yeah, they can, yeah.
They can.
They can. I weren't sure if that was because I've only really seen it on the the Speedsoft HPAs and stuff. So I've never
Well,
really seen it
For
on
the weekend,
AEG.
if I wanted to, I could go into the MOSFET on that and set it to binary.
Oh, okay.
I could if I wanted to.
So again, it is literally the player and the build. That's it.
This is it. It's down to
Nothing to
sites
do
to
with
enforce at the
HPA.
end of the day.
Yeah.
And the trouble is as well, like, again, costs are increasing. So a lot of sites I find these days are running on less staff than they may do for the numbers. It's probably just the bare minimum that they need for a game day for cover. But they're going to miss things. And then you've got that one knob that's got binary trigger switched on, even though they said in the safety brief, don't use it.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of sites don't allow binary, do they?
Mm.
It's overkill. It really is. The thing is, yeah.
I try
do
and
think it's
employ the
overkill.
level 2 hashtag not sponsored
Fucking
mindset.
hell, I wondered when I was going to have to crank this out.
People give it a minute, go again if I haven't hit them, etc. Oh, I have that pre-prepared.
Every
think a
time
lot-
level 2's mentioned on this, we have to put
I
this
think
on now.
a lot of
we
sites
refuse to
tap-
be sponsored.
A lot of CQB sites are tap pulls, isn't they?
Yeah,
so it's
they're
like
trying,
two shot
and
thing.
like a lot of sites I've seen are also
think,
like, taking that on board
Actually,
now as well.
we were
Yeah.
Blackstone. I think they said, I don't know why. It's some reason it's stuck in my brain. Someone said they said 3 shots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was written. It was written in the safe
2
zone.
or 3.
They're not
It was
enforcing it. Though.
Yeah.
It was my biggest bugbear at Blackstone. They're not enforcing it.
It was
No, they're
3.
not.
But I thought, I was a bit. Normally it's tap because I've only obviously done beta day, then the January, and then this one. So it was a bit like, okay, it's changed slightly, but yeah, they weren't enforcing it all. I'm covered. Hence why I'm covered on my arm.
Oh yeah, honestly, I look like I've got
Doesn't
some
look
fucking-
good. I was literally
Yeah.
some of them.
Your
You
room
see,
is
I've
that
been,
dark, you just look like a floating head currently.
they've made me bleed. Yeah, I do, don't I?
Oh fucking hell!
everyone's
Now you've done it,
fucking
Ailey.
I think
Now you've done it.
Oh,
still
God.
on Chronowin, one pet peeve of mine, I think, is sites, even with small numbers of people on site, they change the settings on the chrono to the different weights of ammo.
Mm-hmm.
And it just takes too long. Just have a chart. You're based on honesty anyway, with asking the player on what weight of ammo they're using, and you just have a chart and you quickly cross-reference weight, speed, done. Rather than spending that extra time faffing through the settings of a chrono, changing it, and it goes from a minute or so for a player to 20 seconds.
Yeah, see, I don't know. See, because I've had, I was at a site previously that I've marshalled at, and they done where they just had one set that was always set for 0.2s, no matter what weight you were running. Me being me, I like to do it specifically on what weight the players were doing, and I noticed there was a difference from what the chronos were reading to what they were playing, and I don't know.
How do you mean there's a difference? Because when you put something through a chrono, it's just measuring the speed. That's all it's doing.
It's the dual creep.
No, you have a chart that cross-references. So 350 on a 0.2 is 1.13 joules. On a 0.25, that'll be 313. So you just cross-reference it. So there is no dual creep in that scenario.
Yeah, so changing the number on the chrono doesn't make any difference to what the FPS would show.
Absolutely
The
nothing.
FPS doesn't show different on a 2 to a 2.5 just because you've changed the figure.
Okay.
Now,
So that's just completely irrelevant thing to have on there, really.
Yes, but people think it somehow makes it better.
Yeah, honestly, no, I that's honestly what I thought. I thought it was set for every weight. Because obviously that's what you have on the chronos.
It can't weigh the BB. How would it know what the weight is?
I was going to say, you could say, oh, I'm running whatever, but you could actually be running like 2s or whatever. It would
be better just to keep it on 2s and just go through that chart system.
100%. It's just it's quicker because it's all based on trust of the player.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, I can't remember who it was said in the chat about weighing the BBs. That's absolutely a good idea for sites to have one of those little micro scales. Yeah. Not all the time, but it's just every now and then if they do it, it's a good little incentive to keep people honest.
Yeah. It's that sort of deterrence as well, because they think, oh shit, are they going to bring the scales out today?
And that's the thing, Airsoft, as a lot of sites, and we always say it's a game of honesty, isn't it? So
honesty and integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Game of honour.
Cool. So, really, what have UKAPU got in store for this year then, just to wrap things up?
Well, the big thing is a push on getting more people involved with us and also getting more reps. So as we talked about previously, it'd be great to have you message in if you're interested, being deputy or rep, or one of the key roles is like press or socials. Get in touch. We don't bite.
Cool. Ailey's already been signed up tonight, so that's sorted.
It's like I was signed up to be show secretary that I never agreed to.
We'll put the link in again for.
That's
all
why
the
I'm always
guys
quiet in any of the group chats. Don't say nothing. You notice I
That
don't
was you're doing something.
Okay, you
comment
signed
much.
up tonight anyway, so that's fine.
One thing, actually, it's an interesting comment that's been made by Mercy Graves, which is about a site loading your mag with their BBs. Presumably 2.0 means 0.2s.
Yeah.
That's exactly introducing jaw creep.
Okay.
So specifically, that's a poor idea. The whole idea with jaw creep is it might chrono fine and under the site limits on a 0.2, but as soon as you put in something heavier, you'll get more efficiency out of the system and it will increase the energy output. So chronoing on whatever weight that the player is using, yes, but automatically loading in 0.2s, you're looking for guns to be above that energy limit.
Especially with, say, my
tools,
SRS.
One of the worst things, isn't it, as well?
I think it's also why a lot of the gas guns do get a poor rep. They're much more efficient at that jaw creep than AEGs.
Yeah. Cool. So, looking forward to seeing what you guys are doing anyway. I'm just wary of the time, so we'll start looking to wrap up now.
It's been interesting to actually find out about you guys as well.
Thank you.
Others.
Guys, from me, just please go give these guys some support. You can sign up for free, for fuck's sake. You know, I think I'll still pay. I don't know. I think it just goes out of my account, and I don't even realise, to be honest with you. I've just got to set up through PayPal, and it just does it every year, I think. But I've been a member for a few years now.
I will confirm that with you. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was going to say it's at least 7 because I came to the.
You came to the Grange back in the day.
Yeah, I got a parking ticket at that as well.
That's right.
Expensive day.
Yeah, it was.
Well worth it.
Well, at the point, I just thought, well, I've got a parking ticket, so I'll just fucking leave my car here now.
Free parking everywhere.
Yeah. Yay. Well, yeah, it is honestly, and like when they do the AGM days as well, you know, it's a great laugh. You go along, you have a game, and then you can sit down and actually see what goes on with these guys and what they're up to, and you can even have your say, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Will wasn't even a member of UKAPU, and we still got him involved because he was there. When we did that.
One of the taglines we like to use is for the players, by the players. So yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Mercy Graves said that they signed up 8 years ago. Still think they have their patch about somewhere. I've got mine somewhere as well. Probably still at my parents' house because I've still got half of my airsoft shit over
Guys,
there.
if you've got your patches, take a picture at your local site. Tag us in it. We'll repost it.
And we'll get you in touch with South Hearts as well, Robbie, so you can get some materials over to those guys because they'll happily advertise you. But that's it for this week. So, Yams, Robbie, where can people find you?
Basically, as I said earlier on, get us on socials, Insta, Facebook. You can always get us online as well. Drop us an email, and we're happy to chat.
And for me, probably South Wales and Wiltshire is probably the sort of areas that you might catch me down at SG1 down by Melksham and the station down by Cardiff.
Yeah, I spend, as I said earlier on, I'm one of the player marshals at Section 8, so you can grab me there. I'll be happy to chat.
I'm looking at this one in Cardiff now, the station in Cardiff.
Excellent indoor site. I think they've just renamed themselves as, I can't remember. But yeah, in Treforest.
Is South Hearts good? I keep looking at that one. Yes, it is. Get down there.
Yeah.
Barry doesn't buy it.
No, absolutely lovely vibe there. I'm not personally, I'm not really a woodland player myself, but even for me, it was really nice because there was plenty of little sort of objectives in between, like sort of bunkers and everything. And it's not a massive woodland site, but it's good fun. Really
That
good
little
fun.
CQB area, that was just carnage, and I loved every minute of
It's
it.
so
I lived for that.
We were just giggling the whole way through that.
Yeah, you think what I'm used to playing in, that's cute. It is. It really is. But I loved every second of it. I really
Night
did.
Ferry, drop me a message, let me know, and we'll. In fact, I'm going there on the 27th of this month, so by all means, let's catch up. Message you guys and get booked onto that one. But that's it from us for this week. Kerry, where can people find you?
Insta and TikTok, Cool Swine Huntress.
Boom. Adam, AD.
Instagram mainly. Unfortunately, I'm private, but just send me a request and I'll accept it. I'll accept anybody really.
Instagram for me as well. GT_06.mini. Not been very active recently. I need to get back into it, but I do lurk on there. So yeah.
I can say I'm more of an observer rather than an actual poster at the moment because I need to post something and I forget.
So
I just like spreading all the laughs and the funny moments I have in the videos and my little clips. Usually me laughing a lot.
But yeah, guys, that's it from us for this week. So take care of each other, take your hits, don't be a dick, and we'll see you guys.